much do you believe in miracles? How much do you believe in saints? This is a question that you'll be thinking about as you examine the case of a young shooting victim from Cleveland who says Pope John Paul II is the reason for his miraculous recovery. And it could bring the pontiff one step closer to sainthood this morning, which is 4 years to the day since his death in 2005. And ABC's Dan Harris decided to look into it. Dan.
Diane, good morning to you. They are expecting big crowds today at the Vatican for the 4th anniversary of the death of Pope John Paul II. Meanwhile, there's a young man waking up in Ohio this morning whose amazing recovery may help in the effort to have John Paul named as a saint.
5 weeks ago, Jory Abley was shot in the head, execution style, in a robbery outside of a restaurant in downtown Cleveland. When he was brought into the Metro Health Medical Center, doctors did not think he would make it. As Father Art Snedeker stood at Jory's bedside, he remembered a meeting that he'd had with Pope John Paul II.
He promised me that he would always pray for the patients at Metro Health Medical Center. And he blessed a dozen rosaries, and he asked me to share those with special patients here. The first night that Jory arrived, when I performed the sacrament of the sick, I also asked Pope John Paul to pray for Jory and to protect him.
Not only did Father Snedeker pray to Pope John Paul, he also gave Jory the last of his rosaries blessed by the Pope. On Tuesday, the 26-year-old Abley, who'd been expected to die just weeks ago, was wheeled into a press conference before being allowed to go home.
I truly believe that one of the reasons I am here today and able to speak with you is because the many prayers that I've received from family, friends, co-workers, and even people that I haven't met.
I stand before you today and say that in my mind, Jory is a miracle.
If the Vatican decides that Jory Abley's recovery is truly a miracle, that could help in the push to canonize John Paul as a saint.
The first stage is beatification, where the person is proclaimed blessed on the basis of living a life of heroic virtue and also performing one miracle. The second and final stage is when the person becomes a saint and thus is canonized, and that happens when a second miracle is documented to have occurred.
The Vatican is right now investigating hundreds of cases of reported miracles associated with John Paul, but they haven't yet certified one. No matter what the Vatican decides, Jory Abley is now able to stand on his own.
Thank you, and I love you.
And hug his mother.
Shortly after he died 4 years ago, Pope John Paul was put on the fast track for sainthood, meaning that the Vatican waived the normal 5-year waiting period that's usually required. Still, the Vatican official who's in charge of Pope John Paul's case says the late pontiff is not on the list of upcoming cases for consideration for sainthood or beatification. There is no precise schedule, according to this official.
But this will presumably go in as one exhibit in their case book.
It will, and I have to say that my mother, a doctor, wrote me an email yesterday saying that she hopes people give some credit to the doctors in this case as well.
Okay.